I saw the time when Logers was only myself and one man and two boys, and one of those was a churl. Yet we conquered. It could not be done now. They have an engine called the press, whereby the people are deceived. We should die without even being heard of.
Hey, this is Zeklog the Great. I've heard people say that President Trump is threatening freedom of speech and of the press when he calls various news outlets fake news, or worse yet, the enemy of the people. In fact, some have made even stronger claims than that. That disgusting oaf Trump is inciting violence against journalists. Just look at all the mail bombs that were recently sent to CNN. Those bombs that weren't actually bombs. Or look at the shooting in Annapolis, motivated by an old grudge having nothing to do with Trump. He's downright dangerous to our democracy. He must not be allowed to incite violence this way. Fuck you. This same press you are so worried about has been inciting violence against me and mine basically my entire life. Painting us as dangerous monsters barely kept under control, and you want me to get all worried now because President Trump is calling them mean names. You doubt me. Very well. Opposition to abortion has been a major cause of the social right my entire life. It is an enormous movement with hundreds of thousands annually gathering in DC for the March for Life. Every few years, some idiot gets it into his head to commit violence against an abortion clinic. The entire pro-life movement condemns these actions immediately and without reservation. Every time, for months afterwards, the media blames the movement for these acts. Okay, so maybe they're tough but fair. So let's look at how they treat a cause they sympathize with. The Black Lives Matter movement was started when Darren Wilson shot Michael Brown, who was assaulting him. After various instances of police shooting black people who were, by the way, generally behaving violently and or resisting arrest, Black Lives Matter started riots in 4 major cities and has had protest chants openly calling for dead cops. There have also been several assassinations of police, apparently inspired by Black Lives Matter rhetoric, including 5 officers killed in July 2016 in Dallas. So, how does the media respond to this? This same media which consistently damns pro-lifers for the rare violence which those pro-lifers loudly disown ignores, downplays, and even excuses this violence by Black Lives Matter. Speaking of Black Lives Matter, how does the media treat white people? Whenever a crime is committed by a white person against a black, the entire nation is now in a moral crisis. It is a stain upon all white people, and we must deeply examine our consciences and our behavior for how it was our fault. In June 2015, Dylan Roof killed 9 black people in a church. And the guilt of whites was a major topic for months. In September 2017, a black Sudanese immigrant, Emmanuel Kadega Sampson, killed one and shot 7 more at a predominantly white church in Tennessee. Was this attempted mass murder similarly a subject of discussion for months afterwards? Were blacks or immigrants held up to harsh moral scrutiny? No! In fact, I'd lay down $100 right here, right now. You've never even heard Emmanuel Kadega Sampson's name before. When white police officer Darren Wilson rightly shot the violent black Michael Brown, white violence and white privilege were all over the American media, despite Brown's criminal actions immediately preceding his death. When Somali immigrant police officer Mohammed Noor negligently shot white Justine Damond, who had called the police to investigate a possible rape, well, again, if you follow the oh so reliable mainstream media, you may have heard 30 seconds of coverage before they return to condemning President Trump and white supremacists. And just to throw one more example on the pile of hundreds possible, why do you know the name of Matthew Shepard? Essentially killed because of his involvement dealing meth, not because of his sexual proclivities. But you almost certainly do not know the name of Jesse Durkheising, a 13-year-old boy kidnapped, raped, and tortured to death by 2 gay men. These days, the word American is a hazy, nebulous concept. We're told anyone can be an American, and that Mexicans sneaking into our country against our laws are undocumented citizens. But not that long ago, American had a much clearer meaning. The word hadn't yet been muddied by the same devils who are telling us that man and woman are meaningless. American generally meant white, Anglo-Saxon, Protestant. Those are the people who built this country and made it what it is. And if you are one of those people, or even in close proximity culturally, yes, the media has you targeted for destruction. Their weapons are lies and the selective framing of tiny bits of the truth. And yes, they are the enemy of the American people. God be with you.